Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dinner and a Game. Thank you so much for joining this evening. This is Friday, and this Friday, that means the lab experiments in gaming. And, of course, as he's been so gracious to do several times now, we have a guest on the show, and that guest is very important to what we're doing tonight. We have Mr. Ross Kalman from Heart of the Deernicorn Game Studios joining us to play his game, Fall of Magic. Hi, Ross.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Hello, everybody. I'm here. No, hi. My voice doesn't sound like that.
Wait,
But,
it doesn't?
Well, it could.
As you can tell, we're very excited to play. We've been having some amazing games in the past, for the past couple of shows, and it's been incredible. Ross has been an amazing addition, and we are so happy he could join us. Also, if you want to find out more about Heart of the Deernicorn Studios and the games they produce and the other items they create, I put their link up in the chat so you guys can go check that out. They have a new game coming up. Ross, would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. It's called City of Winter, and it's a follow-up to Fall of Magic. And in it, we play a family who has to leave their home to go live in a strange and surreal new place. It's about tradition. Yeah, and that's what I've been working on. And yeah, that's the next jam. That's the next jam that's coming out.
Yeah, and I've already they had is the Kickstarter actually is actually over now, right?
It is,
already
yeah. But
funded
if you go to citywinter.com, you can sign up to get an email when it becomes publicly available, which will be. Oh, and there's a demo you can try out for free. So if you want to check out the rules and try it on, we have a virtual tabletop version, so you could play it right now if you wanted.
Absolutely, and
not right now. You're gonna watch us play right
Oh
now.
yeah. I mean, maybe
we're not going to shoot ourselves in the foot that way. But as another incentive for us and Ross coming on the show, he gave us some keys that will unlock a copy of Fall of Magic in the app Roll20, which is actually just a website, so you don't have to go anywhere or download anything. You just go sign up for the website Roll20, and you will get a full copy of Fall of Magic. Now, what's going to happen is, as we play through the game, eventually, we're going to take a break about 2 hours in. And then when we take a break, we're going to determine a keyword that has happened so far in the game. And then we're going to tell you the keyword when we come back from break. Shit. There we go.
I mean, that's not the keyword. I was just like, whoa.
It could be.
This is real.
And then when we come back from break, we're going to give you guys the keyword. And all you have to do is type that keyword in chat. And you'll be entered to win. And at the end of the show, we will give away one of those keys. All right? Also, we have an amazing cast, as always. We have a bunch of people who are really who've gotten together thanks to Marcy, number one, bringing these amazing people together. And they are the Lab Experiments in Gaming. Marcy, would you like to tell us a little bit about your show?
Thank you very much, Ray, and thank you for hosting us. This show is something that we put together because we wanted to showcase other types of short form, or as we've now learned with Fall of Magic, potentially long form gaming that use a less conventional style of mechanic and table interaction than you would normally see at D&D, which is the sort of monolith of tabletop role-playing game, which is a very fun game. But it is the kind of entry point for a lot of people, and it's very specific in what it is. And so we're just putting the lab together to showcase other styles of games that might focus on different rule sets, focus on different table cultures, so people have more access to information about other ways to play tabletop role-playing games.
And that is always been, as when Marcy and I talked about this show and she was giving me ideas for it, that was always the focus, is to give give voice to the indie producers, and that's kind of what Dinner and a Game also focuses on. We try and give voice to people who are, trying to get their voice heard, but are may not have the facilities to do so, or don't know how. So if anyone out there is looking to produce something we're talking about in the vein of the TTRPG community. If anyone's looking to produce a show or produce anything in that vein, you can reach out to us. We are always available, and we would love to help you out with that. We are more than willing to host and facilitate, just like we do for the Lab Experiments in Gaming. And so if you do want to try this out, give us a shot. We're open to any ideas, and we're more than willing to help. So also, the other folks on this show are also amazing. We have some people here we all have real lives, of course, because, we're not lucky enough to do this for a living yet, but
Not yet.
Not yet. But we do have some amazing creators. Shaz, I do believe that you have a Twitch stream yourself, don't you?
I do have a Twitch stream myself. I like to Twitch stream video games. So if you are interested in watching games like Overwatch or Stardew Valley, Minecraft, and any other suggestions, I'm always open to try new games. But yes, that is what I do on the side.
On the side. Yeah, because, like I said, real life comes first. It's one of the main rules of Dinner and a Game, and one of those factors of real life is we got to pay the bills. So a lot of us have work, but we all love this community, and we all try and be as big a part of it as we can. And Mutiny Kitty has an incredible Twitter that she's puts out kind of stuff from her everyday life. Would you like to tell folks where they can find you on the interwebs?
Well, if you search anywhere on the internet for Mutiny Kitty, I'm there, from Twitter to Neopets to whatever. It's Mutiny Kitty. And yeah, I'm just messing around. I'm not doing anything in particular.
Yeah, but it's still very entertaining. I look forward to your Twitter feed every day, because it's one of the things that, like, whenever you put out pictures, especially when you were at work or anything like that, it was always fun because you put out videos of everyday life, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Also, we have
my
Rob,
barista life.
who doesn't have social media yet, but he is a member
rock I
of
lived
our
under is
cast, and
very
we
heavy.
love him dearly. Were you actually going
My thing is just check out everybody else.
I am going to go ahead and get the heck out of here, and I am going to let these folks take things from here. Everyone, please have a good night. Everyone, enjoy the Lab Experiments in Gaming. And once again, Ross, thank you for being here, and have a great game, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Man, what a hype man.
Right?
Except my
How do we
camera
start
won't
off
shut
after
off now.
that?
We're pumped up. We're ready to go.
I'm so excited. Is this part 3 or part 4? I'm starting to lose track of where
Part
we're
3.
at. Part 3. Okay.
So we've been in the Hall of the Woods, and that's been an adventure.
Should we do just a little quick? Maybe we should just do a
recap?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say recap. I'd be fine with just jumping to a scene and kind of like remembering the game as we play. But I just wanted to remind people real quickly about that we're going to be using the X card tonight. So if you don't already have your X card, please draw an X on something. And this is just a safety tool that was developed by John Stravopoulos. It's the X card is just really here to remind us that this session is always, even though it's easy to forget because we're buds, we've been playing a few games together now, but we all always have the power to remove something from the story that's making us feel uncomfortable or spoiling our fun somehow. So please, if anything is making you feel uncomfortable, whatever that is, just you can say, hey, can we X whatever that is, or you can hold the
just me that lost audio?
I have lost audio of
I lost audio.
Ross.
Ross, we cannot hear you, sadly.
Okay, you can probably hear me again now.
Oh, yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so this might be an issue. Just let me know. Basically, what's happening is Skype is changing my audio source from time to time. Just,
It'll happen.
Yeah. So I was just saying, this is just this X card is a reminder for us all that we all have the power to remove anything from the story that's making us feel uncomfortable or somehow spoiling our fun. So if that, fantastic. So if something comes up for you that you would like to see done differently or removed from the fiction, or just even any kind of table talk that's making you feel uncomfortable, just please let us know and we will find another way to tell our story. You can hold the X card. If we were at a table together, you might kind of reach out and tap it. You can type it in chat. You can just do an X like this, or be like, hey, I'd like to X, whatever it is. And we will all find another way to tell our story. Your emotional safety is more important than any game.
You're not going to have a good game if you don't have that emotional safety, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
No questions asked with any X.
Yeah. Cool. So, great. Yeah. So this is session 3 of our game. We're at the Hall of the Woods right now, and jumping into a session, jumping into a game again when we've kind of been away from it for a couple weeks, can sometimes be a little daunting. And what I always like to do is, just jump in and do a scene, and just let it be small and kind of allow yourself to sort of gradually get back into character. I can go ahead and do a scene unless somebody else has an idea for something they'd like to do.
I do not, but I'm always down to be used in a scene.
Yeah. But absolutely, you can tap.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just do something a little small. So I'm just reminding myself. So, so Marcy is playing Justice, the Knight, and Rob is playing Elamira, the Golem, and I am River the Golem. We're Golem buds. And then Mutiny is Caspian the Fox, and Shaz is Harp the midwife. And you have a pig as well, like a large pig that you ride upon.
Harley.
What's your pig's name? Harley?
Harley.
Wonderful. Okay, great. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm starting to remember thoughts that I had. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and do a scene at the Wild Altar. Oh, somebody. I just want to throw something out there. I heard this really great piece of advice. It was for writers. And it was a quote from some famous writer. I can't remember who the hell it was, but they were basically saying, don't save your good ideas, just use them. And use them right now, because you'll have more good ideas later. And I think that's just really good advice for any kind of creative thing, but especially I think in role-playing games, there could be a tendency to there's something I want to happen, but I'm gonna, I'm gonna try and make it be this big, huge buildup. But you can also just make it happen right now, because then we'll just build off of those good ideas. So yeah, anyhow, I just had a good idea, and it's kind of big, but I'm just going to do it right now. So,
Yeah, let's do it.
let me describe the wild altar. So the scene is going to have Gollum. It's going to have. I'd like to scene between. So we're at the wild altar right now, in the Hall of the Woods, and the. Can someone? Someone's done a scene at the wild altar before? Does anybody remember anything that's like true about the wild altar that I should keep in there?
Oh.
And no is fine.
May have written some of it down.
Whose token is which?
I don't remember.
I think I'm actually the river. That
You're
makes
the
sense.
river?
I think I'm the river.
Yeah.
And I bet the fox is the fox.
I am
And-
the bird.
I have
Some
and the
Christmas
magus
movie.
is the sword,
Okay, so I'm the tree then.
and then we have the tree, and then that leaves Marcy with Justice being the raven.
Okay.
Oh.
I thought I was the raven because I have the crazy bird lady.
Okay, so you're that. And then maybe Justice, does that make you the candle?
I definitely had a scene. I'm pretty sure the scene that we closed on last time.
Scandal.
Well, here's what the wild altar is like right now. So,
Cool.
I'm imagining one of the reasons they call it the wild altar is because it is ever changing. So, oh yeah, did you remember something,
sorry.
Rob?
Sorry. I'm the candle because
You're the candle.
Yeah,
You are the
Marcy is the
candle.
tree. Marcy is the
Mm.
tree because it was the Why We Must Stay, and they had a cool scene with Caspian. I
Okay.
remember. Sorry.
We're getting it.
I remember there being a scene at the Wild Altar about everyone was swimming in the river.
POV. We
Oh,
all
that's
have
right.
amnesia.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
I stopped writing just before that happened. Apparently, I got distracted.
No,
But-
awesome.
but
Yep,
yeah,
and I
I
remember walking
remember-
out to the island and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Justice and River.
Yeah. Great. And that was our last scene, and I took the last turn. All right, great. Now I'm taking the first turn, and we're back at the wild altar.
So,
So I think that after that last scene, that River stays there a long time, and we see, the kind of opening scene is, I think it's the next day, and River has been sitting in that island in the middle of the lake like the whole night, and the sun is coming up, and if you didn't know what you were looking for, you might even think that there was just like a statue, of this person, this kind of hunched over, cloaked old person by this altar that has where all the foxes were kind of like swimming around and celebrating in the previous night. But it's not a statue. It's River, and much to the surprise of a little bird that's just like landed on her shoulder. As that bird kind of like lands, I sort of like move and look, and the bird is just like completely surprised and lets out a squawk as it flies away.
Can I have the bird for a second?
Yeah, you're the bird.
The bird is a dark feathered bird with kind of like underlights. If the sun or light hits their feathers in the right way, it shows other colors, but they also have bright yellow details, just almost stripes, but only at the ends of the wings, ends of the tails, top of the legs. And the bird squawks and flies away, and while it's flying in a circle above River's head for a minute, it squawks a bunch of times, and then it settles down again. And many other of the same type of bird in the area have heard the squawks and come to investigate. And now a bunch of them sit on and around River as River stirs.
Oh, awesome. And I think that the birds kind of like gather, and they start gathering closer and closer to each other, and their forms begin to merge, and the Magus rises up from this form, and their feathery, the kind of like their feathery body kind of like resolving into their actual self, and the Magus says, "Hello, River. I've been doing some exploring of the land, trying to find a way through these woods where we can travel safely with so great a party. There are people who are watching us as we travel, and there are those who would not wish our journey to be successful." And River nods and says, "Well, I'm sure you will be able to find the way for us, great Magus." And at this, the Magus, lowers their hood. And I think it's maybe the first time we've seen their face on screen, like really clearly. And this my cool idea was that the Magus actually looks just like River and Elamura, because of course why wouldn't the Magus create us in her own image. Except she's very much not a golem. The Magus is like a person, and you can see that how our faces, even mine, which is kind of like cracked with and kind of has like little bits of mold and other signs of ages and ages of wear, is this sort of idealized version of the Magus, who's quite old and showing it. I think that I'm just trying to think of what. Okay, so my story prompt here is fresh desire, and I'm trying to think about what that might mean either for me or for the Magus. Does anybody have a thought about what a fresh desire of the Magus might be here? Something maybe that's connected to like either information they found while they were flying around scouting as all these little birds, or something they might want of me.
Idea for the Magus specifically,
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely am having feelings about it being articulated by the birds who weren't born up into making Magus shape. And I'm wondering about how the one bird from the beginning of the scene feels about the Magus.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Like, what's going on with this magic here? So, is the Magus even here right now, or are they like just kind of like using these birds to manifest themselves?
Interesting.
Which I kind of like that. I sort of like these birds really just kind of having their free will. And I think perhaps what happens is like this bird, the one bird that landed originally, gets like a little distressed, and like the birds are and it's perhaps because magic is dying. I think maybe even what happens is we see the Magus's voice begins to crack a little bit as they're talking, and they begin to cough, and they kind of are coughing and doubling over a little bit, wrecked by these like violent spasming coughs. And as they cough, every time they cough, their form begins to break apart back into birds again, until finally they let out this really violent cough, and their body just explodes into birds as the birds, rightly terrified at this experience they've had, just flee.
I'm kind of seeing now this one bird, as the Magus appears, lets out like some quizzical caws, while the Magus and River are addressing each other. But throughout the conversation, this one bird is cawing more and more aggressively at the Magus, and as it starts to ramp up quite quickly, this coughing from the Magus starts, and the bird just keeps hitting that and keeps yelling and like trying to pick at this shadow of where the Magus should be, and can't touch it, and yells louder and louder until this this freedom of the birds happens.
Yep. Yeah, I love that.
I think it'd be interesting since Harp always has a flock of birds around her, where she is, I guess, nearby enough to witness this explosion of sorts, and remarks about how the birds that follow her, whether they would actually could form into this entity in a sort. She hasn't seen anyone or seen the Magus form itself with the birds, and I guess she just makes a quick kind of remark about how magic is slowly dying, and it serves as another reminder for her, but she tries to move past it by setting out her goals and organizing what she would the rest of the journey anyway.
One thing I was wondering at the beginning of this scene, and I wanted to ask you about, is this one bird at the start of the scene who landed on River, is that one of Harp's birds?
Yeah, are these all
Is
your
it?
birds, Harp? The Magus,
I don't think.
I don't know about all of them, but this
Yeah.
one bird that came
This
to
one.
look for River, maybe?
I don't know, because I kind of imagined this one bird being not part of our pact in a sense. It's kind of its own, can I say, like, tribe, or like its own separate location, and had never seen us before, but is witnessing for the first time in their bird life this odd flutter of several birds forming into one, and then all of a sudden just dispersing. I think it is a shock for the bird itself, and no, I don't think it's part of Harp's flock.
Okay, cool. Well, great. Let's go ahead and end that scene there. And anyone can go next.
So whose pieces aren't on the board yet?
That would be me.
I rearranged this room, and I did not find the papers that I was writing on from before that had the notes on them. I'm thinking that the river at the Wild Altar, that's what I was thinking was mine, because I recall that being one of the final scenes from the last one. But I am not sure at all.
Well,
I think that was Ross's scene, but you two were both like very integral
Yeah.
to it, and you went to
Okay.
the altar, and you carved River's face, drew River's face on the rock, is what I remember. But
I remember doing the disturbing ritual with the 3 foxes, the gray foxes,
oh yes,
and the soup making. So that was what I
sibling
did for my
rivalry.
scene. Yeah, which I love. I I miss those. I miss those 3.
All right. And
So I think we decided, Marcy, that the tree is you.
the tree is me. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's the candle and the fox that we're missing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
so
and I
Candle
think
is-
I think Mutiny is the fox.
Surprise.
Yeah.
I actually don't have a scene.
I have sort of an idea. Although I would need the other foxes back.
I bet that can be arranged.
It could be
You can
arranged.
arrange that.
If someone else could play Moonstone.
I can take Moonstone.
No. You were. I wrote that part down. You were Sootmaw.
That's right. I already have one. Right.
Moonstone
Take Moonstone.
was your cat
And-
or fox person, right?
The gray fox.
The shitty youngest sibling,
Okay.
obviously.
Yeah, that was Sootmaw, and then Greyleaf was the oldest, was Ross.
Yeah,
And
I think
then
I was maybe
Moonstone.
Was I the oldest or was I the middle sibling? Because I was getting picked on
Pretty
all the
sure
time.
Moonstone
As
was
someone
middle
who
sibling.
is in a family of that size, I definitely got the impression that Moonstone was the youngest and that Moonleaf was the
Oh, yes, that makes sense.
Yeah, sounds great.
Greyleaf, Sootmaw, and then Moonstone.
All right, they're at your disposal.
So I just Rob, if you want to play Moonstone,
I can play
if
Moonstone.
you can
unless,
embody my charismatic, mischievous charm.
Do my best.
So I want to do the Spirit Lake, what the Rangers teach you. So, what I'm picturing is, I guess the lake where the altar is the Spirit Lake.
Mhm.
Okay.
But around the other side of it, like there's a path that kind of winds lazily through the woods all the way around. Caspian is sitting by the lake when he sees the 3 foxes kind of go off and decides to follow them.
Mm.
Not like sneakily, just kind of casually behind and see what they're up to.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that that we're leading you there on purpose because we know that you're following?
I think there was a kind of a goal in mind, but they would be very much aware that I had followed.
Okay.
Nice. And I think for once, we're not bickering at all, which seems very strange.
Yeah.
And we're wearing. Wait, do foxes wear clothes?
Yeah, we had them with like a cloak.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they've got
With
like a
the
ranger
ear
cloak
hoods.
that they wear. Oh yeah, with the, like yeah, the,
Oh, yeah, the
the-
hoods with the hoods.
yeah, I forgot about that.
Caspian has like a
Tight.
green cloak.
Cool. So, but we don't. I think like we're not wearing our cloaks right now, and we are actually. I still have like. It's so funny. Like whenever I think I talked about this like in the last 2 games, but like whenever there's like anthropomorphized animals, I always just have like so many questions. Like, are there foxes that don't? Are there like foxes that aren't anthropomorphized in this world? Or
I
like
think
all
it was,
foxes
like-
are like us.
I think it was like some of them are, some of them aren't, with like the passage of magic.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I think some probably more of the cunning animals are the ones that are staying anthropomorphized longer.
Got it.
They're retaining that kind of humanity, I guess.
Okay, so tell me if you think this is cool. We can rewind. I'll just say it. So my big idea is, so as we're walking down as the 3 of us are walking down the trail, you notice that where it's, I guess like maybe we're walking around the lake to like the far side of the lake, and it's this long walk, and as we walk, we get further and further away from the kind of the torches and the activity around the wild altar and the hall itself, and we're starting to walk a little strange. We're not wearing our cloaks. We've left them behind somewhere. And what?
Nothing. Keep going.
Okay. Okay, so but we start like kind of hunching over a little bit, and we start to kind of like get this sort of like strangeness in our gait, and every once in a while like a hand kind of touches the ground, and then we pick ourselves back up again, and then we're all just like, and then suddenly we're all just walking like foxes now, and we're not walking on all 4s anymore, and we are in this part of the woods where you just see like this like glowing of eyes, and there's just all of these like wild gray foxes in this clearing in the middle of the woods, and this is like all of the gray rangers that have kind of been lost to their wildness out there.
Before this scene pushes forward, I would like to ask a question. Mutiny, you can take Moonstone back for this moment. I just want to know that now that at this moment, how does our relationship still, the relationships of these three foxes still present? Like the sibling, the hierarchy of siblings. Like I just want to have a moment of like still the people they were before we explore what that means, but just a little symbol of that to have on screen.
Mm-hmm.
I see Moonstone kind of like bouncing kind of back and forth across the path, and maybe nipping at the tails of the other two.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah, and I turn back at you when you nip at my tail, and I haven't quite started walking on all fours. Or are we walking on all fours at this point?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I turn back and I start to say something to you, but it just is like this kind of like fox, this kind of like fox growl, and I just bare my teeth at you.
For Sutma, there's a thing that my cat Pan does where Pan will pet you with his tail. If he wants your attention, he'll sit beside you and just like flop his tail on you over and over again. And I think Sutma as Moonstone nips at the tails, and as Greyleaf yowls, I think Sutma is just brushing both of them with their tail.
Aww. Cute. Does this affect Caspian? Is it like
That's
part
the
of
question,
the
right?
woods?
That's the question.
I'm gonna say yes.
Ooh.
Okay.
I think that's the most interesting answer. Yeah, I think it does. So as Caspian is walking and seeing this happen, he doesn't even really realize it at first. But it's he also ends up down on all fours and kind of super confused, and his cloak falls around him and he shakes it off and kind of looks around and looks at himself kind of like a dog chasing their tail, but slowly. And then quickly runs to follow the other three foxes, hoping that he'll find an answer.
Have you caught up to us, or are you still sort of trailing behind?
Still a little bit behind, but closer now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Greyleaf stops and is just like stretches a little bit. There's something a little. It's actually kind of. I think maybe fox spines are actually like a little better suited to walking on all fours, and there's this kind of like shaking off of the humanity that is sort of going on. And you can see the other foxes that are there. There are some that just really have this like wildness in their eye, and still others like seem confused, and we're gathered around, and the I think when maybe when Caspian enters, they you stick out quite a bit because the other foxes are all gray and you're red.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the foxes like kind of notice you, and as you are walk out into the midst of us, following Greyleaf and Moonstone and Ashmaw, is that correct? Sutma, thank you. They all start yipping, and there's just like this kind of chorus of yips that these sort of like syncopated staccato yips as you come into the center of us.
Which of the three of us speak for Caspian? I believe that Sutma does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what does Sitma do? Like speak for Caspian, like just you mean like vouch, like hey, it's okay.
Vouch, yes, vouch. Perfect.
Caspian's cool. Yeah, how does Sitma show that to everyone else? Is it like vocally, or is it kind of like a?
As the yipping starts, Sitma is gonna bound back and walk circles around Caspian to guide them in, and is not going to yip or anything, but as they walk circles around Caspian, they are also going to brush Caspian with their tail the same way they did with their siblings.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and Greyleaf, following your lead, puts his nose into dips his muzzle into the wet clay of the shore of the river, and marks you, on your and anoints you like on your forehead and on either cheek with a little spot of gray clay.
As that's happening, Moonstone is going to, like, once the marking is finished, just bounding over top of all three of you and just like happily, and then like all three of us are close enough now, just sort of herds us together and just like binds us into a little ball.
Caspian keeps his tail down and just legs bent close to the ground. He understands what is happening, that they're like helping him be accepted in, but he's still confused and nervous as to why this has happened.
I'm just like I'm kind of like wanting like the Fox Magus to like show up and like be super alarmed that you're here and want to get you away. It's like before it's too late.
What if,
but I don't know what you want to happen in this scene, if that's exciting to you or not.
what if Peppercorn is looking for her 3 fox children?
Or maybe Harvey comes to like rescue you before it's too late.
Bust through the woods.
I don't think it's something that can be too late just yet. Like these three know that this is a thing that exists.
Yeah.
They came here on purpose. So I think it's something that you can kind of come in and out of.
Cool. Yeah, I like the idea that like maybe some people are stuck, but some people are still kind of like liminal.
Yeah, some of them did get stuck here, but like for these 3 in Caspian, that's not going to happen yet.
Great.
But
yeah, maybe we also have like offerings with us. We're like feeding our brother, our family.
Yeah, I like that.
We've got the ration bars.
Yeah, the ration bars. Yeah,
wow.
Totally.
Came full circle.
But I do like the idea of somebody coming in and excuse me, and kind of making Caspian like, it's time to leave. For him specifically.
Yeah, maybe Elmira comes at the Magus's bidding, or someone to guide you away.
I have
Justice.
an idea.
Yeah, what's your idea?
Because we've already put the Magus being able to use other animals to astral project on screen.
Yeah.
But foxes are more complex than some birds, and I'm kind of wondering about the idea about like another 3 foxes like leaping down into the same kind of clearing area where the 3 of the gray foxes and Caspian are, but they're a little bit too complex for the Magus to fully take over, so they all leap down side by side, but instead of like the birds where the Magus was able to apparate and be present for a moment, I'm kind of imagining like the foxes all have glowing eyes and then open their mouths and speak in human words at the same time. Something creepy almost like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Like
That's super unnerving.
Caspian, You are needed back. Where are you right now? But they're looking around, but they can't see if Caspian is there or where Caspian is.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
so maybe so like he gets a sense of where people are, maybe that he's close to. But now he just sees a clearing of foxes.
He's basically like shuffling through the Rolodex, telepathy on, but the telepathy isn't consistent.
Yeah. So Caspian.
So you picked this as what the Rangers teach you. Did you have something in mind?
No, I was gonna see how it went, see what Caspian learned, and obviously he's learned that this is where the animals are going.
Mm-hmm.
He can see in the eyes of the other foxes which ones are more feral and which ones are still connected. Yeah, so I guess that is what Caspian has learned. That there's places in this land where magic, I guess, is drained. I think that's what's happening here.
Yeah.
We crossed into like a barrier where it's just like a drained spot where magic has completely gone out of, or not completely, but almost completely gone out of that spot in the world.
Are you interested in the siblings having done that on purpose and shown you? Like they said, like, here is
Absolutely.
a place for you to come?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can have that as part of the wrap up of this scene.
Oh, yeah, and I'm also super into like maybe eventually you kind of like get led away and return back to your more human form, but one of the three siblings doesn't come back.
Sutma can be an oldest sibling without being anthropomorphized. I'm gonna put Sutma on this.
On the
Unless
chopping block.
One has a pressing.
No, I was gonna
No, that's
say
great.
it would be Sutma.
Cool.
Yeah, so Caspian turns around and sees this, and he knows what it is. I assume this makes the other foxes, some of the more feral ones, concerned. The glowing eyes and the noises that they're unfamiliar with. And the yipping starts again. And Caspian not having a way to communicate, he turns tail and kind of runs out of the clearing of foxes.
Nice.
Back to the encampment or the hall of the woods.
Cool. Is that scene?
Yeah. I like that.
That was lovely.
Wait. Before we seen that, Caspian's, that's the end of Caspian's scene, but as we are running back, do we want to detail a little bit about Greyleaf and Moonstone becoming anthropomorphic again and Sutma not?
Sounds like maybe you have an idea for a scene.
These aren't even our main characters.
That's totally fine.
I love them.
Yeah, or not. That was just a thought.
I don't have an idea for a scene, but I want to see it.
Yeah, totally.
I don't think it has to be super detailed. The frameworks that I have in mind is basically like Caspian running back because it's their job. And the two Greyleaf and Moonstone running with them and not taking it super seriously because that's, or Greyleaf taking it too seriously and Moonstone not taking it super seriously. So Moonstone is like jumping from the tree branches and being like, a roustabout about it.
Yeah.
And it just being like very fun. I guess I'm imagining like Studio Ghibli sort of like animation of them running down through this forest and re-anthropomorphizing and like seeing them slowly come back into these forms, except for one of the gray foxes, which doesn't and is still having fun and running and yipping. But as it goes further down, one of the gray foxes just doesn't turn back.
Nice.
And I don't think that we need any more detail in that scene unless someone has to add one, but I do have one question, because we did say that as the change happens when the foxes arrive, their stuff gets left behind. I want to know what happens to Caspian's satchel.
Oh, Caspian would have picked that up.
Okay.
He definitely wouldn't have forgotten about that.
Cool. So I'm seeing like as they're running by, like just a snatch.
Yeah, pretty much. That's
Cool.
I didn't say it, but that's how I pictured it.
I get the feeling that this is an eventuality that is like not a sad thing necessarily for Peppercorn and Greyleaf and Moonstone and Sutma and the other foxes, and it's not a huge deal when we all arrive back and Sutma doesn't anthropomorphize. But if anyone else has thoughts on that, or if there is like a you've moved on to the next stage of your life birthday kind of thing. But I feel like in my head, maybe it's more significant to like Caspian and our characters than it is to the Grey Rangers.
I think especially to Caspian, because for him it's been about magic, and now he's seen it realized leaving the world. So while for him he wants to experience the joys of magic, he's just had his first glimpse at what it looks like to lose it. So for Caspian, that's it's kind of not bittersweet's not the right word, but it's an odd feeling for him. He felt calm almost, like as a fox.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a fox, you've got that fox brain. In the back, like he had his regular mind kind of concerned, and then the fox mind knowing, hey, this is fun going on at once. But so there was that sense of like, I guess, instinctual peace, but also the fear of losing what he has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
What Marcy had mentioned about Peppercorn and the eventuality of things happening the way that they are, and accepting this kind of like new, is this renaissance is the word? But I've totally imagined Peppercorn standing on the porch of the cabin doing that dinner bell thing where she's calling them home for supper, and only sees the two running on the two legs, and then maybe a little further behind is Sutma on all fours, and she takes a moment and watches from afar. You can't hear her yet from the distance. You know, she's still watching them run down the hill. And she kind of like has a smile on her face, like, okay, well, it happened sooner than she thought it would. But she knows that everything is fine, and this is something that will happen to everyone. So she goes back into the cabin and takes one of the bowls that she had poured out and ladled out and just puts it back into the pot.
Cool. Okay, let's do the next scene. Who wants to go next?
After that, who?
These aren't even our main characters.
I think I have a scene.
Cool.
Is anybody willing to play the Magus?
Not that.
Sure, I'll do it. I'd be happy to.
And I will also need a harp.
Okay.
All right. So my idea for this scene is kind of we have Elamira.
Where's your character?
Oh, sorry. I am
name of
putting
your token.
the Circle of Ancients.
Awesome. Thank you.
No worries. So what I'm imagining is that Harp has sort of been questioning like what exactly was happening with the birds.
Mhm.
I don't think they were your birds, but you're still like intrigued if you like that concept.
Yeah.
And Elamira was the closest person to the Magus that you could find as like a intermediary in a sense. Like both me and River are very close to the Magus. I mean, we literally look like her. But so my idea is kind of you coming up to me and asking about what has been going on, like what the Magus has been doing, and I'm more just intrigued by the idea, and I want to talk to the Magus about like the use of magic.
Great. So we have Elamira and Harp in the Magus.
Yep.
They're at the Circle of Ancients.
Yep.
With all the foxes, like the wild, or is it like later and they've gone and run off somewhere else?
I think it's just after the Magus has sort of like let go of their control of the three foxes.
Okay, cool. And then so they've come here physically now.
Yeah, so the Magus is actually
great.
here.
Maybe like great. So maybe like the three of us all have like come here physically. And what did we come here for? I'm just kind of curious.
Both me and Harp have come to talk with you about the use of magic.
Okay, cool.
I think I don't know if it's like taboo or what, or if it's like perhaps we shouldn't use magic so much, or maybe an invasion of privacy.
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe it's for like a lesson to like kind of teach.
That is intense music. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
No, I was gonna ask. So, is this Circle of Ancients on that island that
I think we established that it's kind of like maybe on the far end of the lake, away from the island.
Yeah.
And that it's there's kind of like a clearing near there.
Okay.
Okay, great. So I think the Magus has their kind of like cloak, which is we haven't really talked too much about their clothes, I guess, but it's the silvery cloak that kind of has these just like inscripted runes and stuff on it. I think we talked about like as the Magus kind of like draws runes on things, they sort of like disappear from their skin. So like I think there's like lots of that. They have like they're like super into. They're really stoked about rune magic. And they gesture out and they they gesture out and say, look at this place. It has the magic has been drained from these woods, from this land, and you can just tell. And I think that like as we were standing there, there's this like this kind of like stillness and this sort of like calm, almost like there was kind of like a vibration or like a frequency, kind of that wave like where there's like a background noise and you don't notice it until it's off. That's kind of how it feels right now. And I think maybe even the Magus is kind of like at the edge of this circle and like doesn't want to enter it, and is actually like doesn't want Elamira to enter it either. I think it's like actually maybe a little dangerous for us to like go in here.
Okay. How with the loss of magic? I've never asked you, because I've never thought to question you. But what harm would it do to lose magic?
What harm would it do?
Elamira is like reaching out,
Yeah.
like single hand to like just barely brush the edge of like what she can feel as like
Sure.
that magic.
Yeah, and
growth.
I think like as you put your hand in it, like it just like turns into lifeless stone, and then you take it back out, and it's like you can move it again. And the Magus says, we are dependent on magic. This is what sustains us. I am a creature of magic, and it is all that keeps this body of mine, going.
As with all things, though, is it not sometimes their time to pass?
That is true. All things do have a time to pass. And my time is very soon. I'm going to pass very soon.
Perhaps there's a new sort of magic that could keep you with us. I thought that magic had died the moment my children had passed. But there's a reason why these birds and this boar and all the animal friends that I have follow me. I found magic in them that has kept me alive through all these years and taking care of them.
And perhaps it's their turn to have a go at things. Magic had its reign. As a creature of magic, I think I have the right to speak on that.
Yes, magic can only keep things going for so long. The Magus says, it's like, look at my body. I've it's been stitched together and woven together by magic, more times than I can count. And you can kind of see that, the places where the runes have like been erased and rewritten like so many times that there's like not a square inch of bare flesh on the Magus's body, and even the places that are kind of bare, you can sort of see the echoes of like the remnants of kind of like erased tattoos of these runes that have been written and rewritten.
If it's okay, that harp kind of like takes your arm and kind of gently takes her hands, like tracing these tattoos and trying to find like a path through all of them. But you can see like through the entire space, it's you can see such layers of everything.
And I think the Magus, I'm just kind of like wondering. And I think that one of the reasons the Magus has come here is because she knows that her body's not going to be able to make the rest of this journey, in its current state, and she's going to have to undergo some kind of transformation. And she knows that this is a place that can do that. This is a place where she can renew herself by quieting, all of the. It's kind of, I'm thinking kind of like a software reboot or something. She's just been written and overwritten with magic so many times that. And I think what she does at this point is she disrobes, and you see her just as this like elderly woman with just like long kind of like flowing silvery hair, and that like indeed like just completely covered with these tattoos. And she lets her robes kind of like fall to the earth, and then begins to walk barefoot, step out of them and into the circle. And as she steps into the circle, the runes begin to kind of like fall away off of her body, and some of them kind of like flake off, and then other ones of them kind of like ignite and burn, and another one kind of like turns into oil and like dribbles off, and still another one like turns into an insect that kind of like skitters away. And as she does that, like the kind of various protections and memories and curses and wards and all the things that she's kind of all the like magical contingencies that all the spells that she's like been maintaining all these years kind of like fall away. And and the Magus like kind of like falls to her knees, and she's now just doesn't have any of these runes on her anymore, and she just like starts sobbing and kind of like wailing. And when she finishes, she kind of like looks back, and you can kind of see her face just like so much more clearly than you have before, and like that likeness really is like quite striking. And she begins to walk back, and she seems to actually like be like much lighter now, and like she says, oh, I'm sorry you had to see that, but truly it feels good to have let go of all of those spells I'd been holding on to for so long.
It was beautiful. And I'm glad that you were able to be rejuvenated. And I know that this is a good place for you.
There's no need to apologize.
Well, I will need to be depending on the rest of you more now than ever.
Harp takes like her cloak and kind of like swings it over, covering you, and kind of gives you like a friendly hug, kind of like reassuring hug.
And as you do, like, have you hugged the Magus before?
No.
I don't believe I have, no.
Yeah, and I think like as you kind of like wrap your arms around her, you're kind of like, it's strange how human she feels. It's strange how small she feels, how frail she feels.
I think Harley kind of trottles along and kind of nudges at the Magus's like knees or something like that. Kind of like looks up at the Magus. It's like, it won't be. Sometimes we need to take moments like these as something to accept. That doesn't make us weak. And the people around us are always here for a reason and to help us through these times. And there's no shame, no apologies needed. Yeah.
Well, I think it's time to leave. But there is one last thing. And Elamira draws the sword that was given to her by River. This is a place of rebirth for you. But this will be the place where I make my end. And she throws the sword, and it tumbles end over end into the center of the clearing and stabs into the ground. One day I'll be back for it.
Cool.
And that scene.
Nice.
So we gotta talk about how Ray is choosing all the right music.
I don't like the music. It makes me very sad.
Looks like some banjos.
Pushing us into sadder decisions, and I feel like that's on purpose.
I can't hear any music.
I can hear it really faintly.
Probably.
We're just going insane then. We're hearing the things. I do not have any scenes in mind, so not sure about the others.
Yeah, I don't have any other scenes planned.
This is where sometimes it's nice to...
At the remove coin point? At the remove token point?
Sure, yep. You want to advance the Magus?
Next spot would be... What's that? What follows you?
Spirit River, what follows you?
Yep, I would happily advance to Magus.
All right.
Yeah.
Hit me. Zoom in a little bit.
Right. What is hidden from you? Peppercorn sees us off and tells us which way to go through the trees. And much to the dismay of Force working with us, there is no path through where we go. And it takes a long time. And the captains try to shore up morale by saying at least the mist has passed. But this part of the forest is so thick, it actually is more disheartening to think that we can see and still have no clue, no access to read the sky that we see in patches. At nighttime, we can barely see the stars. The trees are too tall to climb, to navigate. All we have to do is pray on the word of this wizened old fox, who many of us aren't sure is sane. It's a long trek through these woods, longer still for the magus who, because there is no path, no longer has a carriage. And although all of their belongings will be carried, they themselves will not. Going is slow, but all through the weeks that it takes to get to the river that we're supposed to follow, whenever morale is at most low, whenever people are most unsure that we are taking the right path, we can hear yips through the woods. The call of foxes for us to follow.
Nice.
And I think that Caspian alone occasionally sees a fox actually appear, and it is Sutma.
Oh, Sutma.
And then one day early in the morning, almost embarrassing that we stopped and didn't go just a bit further the night before, the camp packs up and starts moving, and the bubbling of a river, the movement of water is heard to everyone. And there is a cheer down the line as the word travels back that we have found water and that we have found the path that we're supposed to follow. And I would like to know just in a moment what each character does when they find out. Justice, I believe, is at the front and is one of the people who first hear the water, and runs, just runs through the trees until they find the river, and is calling back that we have found it.
I think Elamira is helping the magus navigate the terrain, and they have been for most of the journey. And doesn't really pay too much attention to the river, but smiles at her soul sister, River, and just gives like a little wink and continues to walk.
I think Harp is had stepped off Harley, so to find a stick on the ground and uses it as kind of a cane. And with this stick, this staff, basically she's kind of moving the leaves in front of her feet apart and the rocks that are in her way as she slowly makes her steps to the edge of the river and crouches to feel the rushing waters through her fingers and the sensation of the water flowing between each finger and lifting it up and kind of letting the water drip down from her palm and yeah, enjoying the view.
I think Caspian kind of hangs back at the kind of the back of the convoy, and just it turns back to the woods of the foxes and kind of whispers a final goodbye to the kin that he has found there.
Yeah, and I think we see.
Is there, prance in a circle before we go through the trees.
Goodbye, Sitma.
Oh, Sitma!
I love you so much.
Yeah, and perhaps we see, River riding alongside Justice just behind the Magus, who's on a horse now. Perhaps we had to leave the cart, the carriage behind. River is just kind of like looking from side to side. You kind of having some of those old warrior habits. You're trying to keep alert to any threats that might be in these woods.
All right.
Okay, cool.
And then I think that is the scene.
Great. So I'm noticing it's 4:23. We're nearing halfway through our session. Do we want to plan for a break at 4:30, or do we want to kind of do it more like at 5? I'm sorry, I'm PST at 3 hours. There we go.
I think that because we are between areas right now at the rate that we've been playing in our previous sessions, I think now would be a good time to take a break, because I feel like every one of us taking a scene at this new area will probably take the rest of the session.
For sure.
Awesome. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's take a break, and do we want to come back at like 4 or at the half hour, or like a little bit long, like a 5-minute break, 10-minute break?
Let's do at the 35 mark.
Yeah.
That would be a good time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds great. See y'all soon.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
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 Welcome back from our break. We had just ended our scene last at the Magus, at the Spirit River. What follows you? And Rob, you look like you have something
Yeah.
to say.
Just an announcement. So for everybody in chat, the keyword to be entered for the draw is Deernicorn. So it's to get a key for Fall of Magic on Roll20. So anybody who wants to be entered for that draw, type Deernicorn in chat. I'll type it first. Just to, don't give me it. I already have the game. just so that everybody knows. I hope that's right. But yeah, just so everybody knows, and now we can get back to the game.
Yeah. If anything, I think Nightbot, the ruler of Caplock's detecting, will spell it out for us. Or Armand, of course. Is there anyone who wants to do a scene? Because I have not thought about one yet.
Oh, neither did I.
You're not supposed to. You don't have to think about it.
Yeah, you just do it.
You just do it. You just put
Just
your
do it.
token on one of the places
Just go.
like this. I'll just take my token and I'll just put it over at tall grass, and I'll start describing what tall grass looks like.
All right.
Oh, the grass is
It's
tall.
actually really short.
It's very tall grass for midgets. It's just tall grass for small people. I think we see this kind of like above view of the of the column of travelers moving through this like elephant grass. Is just like extremely tall, and it's kind of being parted as we're moving through it, and and we're all still in horseback. I think even in just the same kind of formation that we were in before. With we see River and Elamira, and I'm sorry, River and Justice and the Magus, kind of like riding in the front. And even on horseback, the grass still rises up to our shoulders. And I think we see Elamira just kind of like feeling really nervous about you can tell that she's feeling really nervous. I'm sorry, not Elamira, River is feeling really nervous and is kind of like looking around and pretty concerned that we might not be able to see if we were going to be attacked while we were on this trail. And indeed, none of us can see this, but I think if we were like kind of viewing this more like cinematically, the camera kind of pans through and starts kind of like moving through the grass, and then and gets to these people that are lying in wait for us. Maybe it's not a bunch of people. Maybe it's just two people. I'm kind of imagining like a pair of agents that are from some rival school of magic or some rival organization that we don't really know much about them yet, and they are there's two of them, and they are dressed all in this kind of like silken shimmering cloth that reflects the grass around them, so they just blend in very well, almost like this camouflage. And they their faces are actually like kind of the most distinctive. Like it's kind of hard to see everywhere that they're clothed in this cloth. I think it's like a cloak that they're wearing over the top. And we don't really know what they want. I haven't decided. I have no idea about what these two people want. but they are clearly but we can see is like we see their faces. We can see that they also have like many runes kind of written on them in the same style as the runes that we saw in the Magus. And so it's clear that these are also like practitioners of magic. And for some reason, they really do not want us to be going where we're going and they do not want the Magus to arrive at the location that they end up in. And I think that as the camera begins to kind of like pan out further and further out, we see the path that we are weaving, that we are kind of blazing through the grass as we move, about to intersect and complete this giant rune that these two people that are spying on us have been working on in preparation for our arrival by clearing out this there's this kind of like burned out rune in the grass, kind of like a huge crop circle that they have prepared for our arrival. And that the final piece of it is this line that our column is marching through, like kind of unbeknownst to us. We are going into this trap that they have laid for us. And I'll just end that scene there.
This is what happens when we don't think about what happened. A trap.
You get thrown into a trap.
I don't have an idea, but I will backtrack before this, if that's all right.
Sure. Or, I mean, the trap can also be like some spell that gets triggered and does like literally anything that maybe we're not even aware of it, and it shows up. Like, don't feel like you have to like somehow like resolve this situation that I set up. You can totally just like ignore it and it'll resolve itself eventually.
Yeah, it's just like not follow a sequential order or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Or I mean, like I said, it was a trap, but it could be like literally anything. Like maybe it's like this spell that is, we're not going to realize what that spell with, like some spell happens, right? And then like what that spell does, we realize like next session,
Well, I have an idea for fishing. Promise you won't keep, and I would like to ask Rob if you can be Harley, and all you have to do is make Harley sounds.
All right, I'll do my best.
So this scene takes place with just Harley and I, and we are by the river that we had just found on our trek, the Spirit River. Oh, you're so Harley. We finally made it. Oh, it's so nice. You want me to give you a nice face wash? Of course, it's been a long time. And she goes over to the river and kind of like guides Harley by some kind of like twine that she had used for a leash.
Harley is like pulling against it, like
you've
not
got
wanting to not go to the water, but like the pulling is like, no, my own thing.
No, Harley, come on, dear. Oh, bitch, my dear. And she crouches down and starts like, I guess in her backpack takes out a little bowl that she had whittled on the journey, since it had been like a long time, and that's how she kind of kept her hands busy at times. And she takes this bowl and scoops up some water and pours it over Harley's snout. It's a little cold, but it'll be fine. Just like
Harley
when you go swimming.
hits the bowl like with his nose and splashes it on your face.
Oh,
Dude.
thank you. I really appreciate having it done to myself as well. I've been sweating. This is why I love you, Harley. You just knew, you know all my needs, but
It's like prancing on his like little trunks.
Does Harley have like maybe like a little ribbon on his tail?
like a red ribbon. It would be so cute.
Little bow.
Sometimes she dresses him up and like.
Does Harley
like
wear a
cloaks.
dress?
When they have to go in disguise, she'll put like a cloak over him.
Like a little straw
Shed
hat with
party.
like pink hair.
Oh, what was the thing? It was in the car. It was like glamour flush. That was it.
Glamouflage.
Love that.
And she kind of, as she's washing Harley, she says, it's been so long since we've been together. I still remember when you were just a little piglet. Oh, you pokes his like snout. And, after seeing all the foxes, well, what I've heard from some talk around, I don't think Caspian had noticed I was actually quite close. This is just between you and me anyway, that I saw that the foxes, they're quite odd. They were walking on their two hind legs, and then all of a sudden, it was like they were just animals all over again. Like, how odd. But I look at you and I wonder, you're quite some magical being you are, and I don't know. I hope that you always be your little piggy self, your little boy self.
And he hardly like puts his head up against you, and then just like slightly mischievously just like headbutts you and rolls with you into the water.
Wow.
Slightly mischievously.
Slightly.
Like, throws you into a river.
Slightly.
Yeet. I think like she stumbles and like gets her like hand and maybe like her one of her shoes wet from this. And it's like, you keep me so young and playful. This is why I love keeping you around. And I mean, I ride you all day, and I know you kind of want to kick me in the ear sometimes, but it's okay. And she reaches into like her little satchel and gets like some food for Harley to kind of munch on as she keeps washing his face. And here it says, "A promise you won't keep." And what she says to Harley is, "You'll be by my side forever."
You gotta do me like this. Get me dirty.
And she
know.
Make me play the pig and then remove
It's
them from my
dark.
life.
She
I mean,
she
forever
thinks
is a long
about-
time.
about how Peppercorn had just like accepted the three Sutma's rebirth in a sense, or entrance to this new life, and it acted as a reminder and like a wake-up call at that moment for Harp that magic is dying, and soon Harley might go through the same. They've been through so much together and journeyed across lands endlessly, but at this moment she recognizes and acknowledges Harley's not going to be Harley forever, and that's something that she has to accept.
Oh.
She looks dearly into Harley's eyes as she's rubbing the last dirt smudge under his eye, and like gives him like a really nice wide smile, like ear to ear, like.
He like plops down in the water. And just like starts pushing dirt onto your legs.
Oh my God, you
Harley
two are
does not
so
realize
cute.
what you're... He doesn't know that
That's
anything's
so
wrong.
cute.
And I think the camera kind of pans from looking at like their backs as this is happening, and it's like a scene kind of getting further and further as they're laughing and giggling, splashing in the water. And that scene.
That was really cute.
I was gonna cry.
Okay. Now.
Yeah.
Sad feels.
Yeah. Mutiny or Mercy? One of you two want to go?
I forgot I unmuted. Sorry.
No, that was very welcome.
I can go. I think that I'm gonna go with drifting, a memory of your parents. What I'm starting off with here is I want Justice to be watching from like the other side of this river. I feel like with the group that we have, the like battalion that is walking with us, I feel like that we have crossed the river where we can, so it's two groups walking down each side of the river and setting up camp on each side of the river, because there's only so much marchable area that is going to be up on either side. And so to make the best of the time that we have, we've split up where we can, and we can see each other at the wide parts and the narrow parts, but we've been basically split up on either side of this Spirit River. And I am imagining Justice on one side of the river has walked a bit ahead and is watching Harp and Harley together. Does Harp see Justice watching, or during that scene? I don't think Justice is like sitting there staring or anything, but are you wanting privacy in that scene, I guess, is a bigger question.
I think that if she was seen in where she's at, like, she's always open. There's nothing that she needs to hide or wants to hide, so I'll leave it at that.
So I guess it's not like quite nighttime yet, but maybe camp has been made and the camps are a bit separated by the river, and Harp had gone up ahead a little bit with Harley for this. And Justice had gone up ahead on the other side. And I think Justice got there first and was just kind of sitting at the edge of the water. I think feeling increasingly non-valuable to this journey as a warrior and as a knight and as a bodyguard in a journey that has been a safe one, more or less so far. The place where it was least safe, other people were more helpful than Justice was. And I think Justice is sitting at the edge, just like pulling grass out and throwing it in the water, and watching the grass drift by. When Harp and Harley go up at the other side of the river, and I think it's quite wide at this point, enough to tell who it is, and enough that we would really have to shout to hear each other. Hard to see details.
Okay.
Justice is watching that last interaction. And we've put together previously in the little shack that we passed by and in conversations between Harp and Justice that Harp has been someone who was there throughout Justice's upbringing.
Yeah, that's right.
And
I think Harp takes one of the flat pebbles she sees and tries to deter the attention from the grass slowly flowing down the river, takes the pebble and skips it across towards you.
Justice sees that and finds a likely pebble and picks it up and skips it back. And I think that Justice was brought to Ravenhall from Stormguard to be a warrior. Comes from a lineage of warriors. And as we've discussed, as we've had like Harp and Justice talk to each other, I kind of get I've been getting the feeling that Harp is maybe the person that treats Justice like a person and not like a role. And I think that is the memory of her parents that Justice is having in this moment, watching Harp care for Harley and try to wash Harley and talk to Harley and not really like knowing what they're saying, but just seeing that attention. And I think maybe Harp is the only one that's ever given Justice that kind of attention. And I think there's a little jealousy tied up in that, and also a little sadness that there was only so long that Harp could play that role in Justice's life. And that is the memory of Justice's parents, is not her parents, who I don't know if she remembers or cares about, but just the person while they were growing up who made Justice feel like Justice and not a knight of Stormguard.
Yes.
And Justice is going to pick up another flat rock. And this time, when they throw it, they are going to do their best to do the most impressive throw and just get hit as many skips as they can now that they have Harp's attention. And they're just gonna rip it and do their best to be like, check this out, Mom.
Does this rock actually make it across like a lot of skips?
I think it gets a few really good skips in the beginning, but I think it was thrown too hard, and it gets those first like hard bounces, but it was too sharp and didn't have enough like on the back end to give it momentum, so it hits a bunch and then just drops right down. And I think
I shout to you, You're whipping it with too much anger. What are you? Come on, just what are you, an angsty teen? I know you're better than that. Come on, I've seen better. Just
while this is happening, Harley is swimming out into the river and is like trying to get the rock that was thrown.
Don't let anger fuel that throat. Come on, let's do it this way. Just watch me. And she like picks up a pebble and just swiftly like skips it across the river in like 20 tiny like skips.
Dude, master skipper.
Flick of the wrist.
Okay.
Barley Town skipping champion.
206.
206.
Got like the bowling, like the sweatband.
Okay.
I'm assuming Harley changes. I'm hoping. Here's what I have in mind.
Yep.
Is that Harley is going to change course to chase the new rock, and instead of throwing another rock, Justice is going to dive into the water and start racing Harley
Okay. Yeah. All right.
for the 20 skip rock.
For the
And
20 skip rock.
that's where I'm good with the scene ending.
Nice.
I like it.
Nice.
Mutiny Kitty. You want to give us a scene?
I could also do a scene if you don't.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was like,
You don't have
that's
to know.
but
Yeah, you
those-
don't have
I
to know.
Just gotta.
Yeah, just put your token on one of those things and just start talking about what it looks like, and then ask us questions.
Dip your toe in the river, just a little. And you'll figure it out.
If you want, I
Yeah,
can.
you can literally make everybody else do all the work.
It's true.
It's like a group project.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
yeah, that exactly like me in a group project. Never do group projects with me. I mean, Rob, if you have an idea.
I do not have an idea, but I'm always ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, everybody should take a turn before somebody takes 2 turns when we get to a new location.
I just don't know.
I'm gonna take regret, and it's going to be a scene with Caspian. And it's nighttime at this point. The river actually is quite beautiful at night. You can see even through the ripples, you can see the moon reflected on its surface and the myriad of stars in the sky. And we're not really moving at this point, but Elamira has gone away from camp, and is sort of thinking about what happened in the Hall of the Woods, and decides to walk back. And as they're walking back, if it's okay with you, I'm imagining Caspian is they meet Caspian along the way. Whether or not you're going to the river, what you're doing. And Elamira stops and stares at you, not like emotionless, but like they're looking at you for the first time. I'm sorry we've never been properly introduced. My name is Elamira. I know that you are an integral member of this group, but I've never actually found the time to talk to you. It's Caspian, isn't it?
It is. Nice to meet you, I suppose.
It's nice to meet you as well. I've been thinking a great deal about creatures of magic as of late. Since we were in the Hall of the Woods. I don't know if it's fair to say that they're your people, but they are very similar to you. And in a sense, similar to me. We are all what we are because of magic. Would that be fair to say? I don't mean to presume.
Caspian looks at the ground and sort of shuffles his feet and says, yeah, I suppose that is true. I never thought of it that way.
Neither did I. It's only recently that things have begun to come into focus, or perhaps distort. I don't know. But I want to know more about what makes us, whether it's the magic or whether it's something else. Perhaps our interactions with the world, and I just don't know if we're doing the right thing.
You know, I've been thinking some of the same things recently about what makes us us and who we might have been or could be. I never thought that I could be anyone other than myself, but I mean, if my opinion means anything to you, I wouldn't be who I am without this magic. And now that I've seen that, I think we are doing the right thing.
Your opinion does mean a great deal. I don't think that there's many people who understand. This is truly a unique perspective we have on the world. And I appreciate your thoughts on the matter.
I appreciate you.
Elamira glances to the side and not something oft said of a servant, but something I'm glad to hear.
And I think we see Maurice from where he's been kind of taking a rest near the privy. He's been digging and he's kind of tearing up a little bit listening to you, and he kind of pulls a little hanky from his pocket. Just, that was so beautiful. That was so beautiful.
Wait, sorry, who?
Maurice, the privy digger from episode 1.
the man who dropped wisdom after digging latrines.
Just
Oh,
the random dude that comes out of the bushes. Oh, Maurice.
Elamira looks at Caspian. I don't know if I've come to terms with this idea or this perhaps misgiving, but I would very much appreciate your company in the... I would appreciate your company. And if we could speak more on the subject or just talk of our lives and perhaps an appreciation of all that I've experienced will help me find an answer. And
I
your
would enjoy
perspective would
that.
help. Thank you. And I'm going to call that scene.
Noise.
Oh, Caspian making plans.
I was like, I've never done a scene with Caspian. This needs to be a thing. Thank you for that, Ailish. That was awesome. Or Uni.
Thank you. I want to bring it back to the tall grass, but I don't know how to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Right. It's hidden in the tall grass.
Would you like some prompts, some prompting?
Go for it. Prompt me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, first put your token there.
My token is there.
So, where...
Have some in the tall grass.
Yeah, tell us, how tall is the grass here? So things you could talk about are what time of day is it? What does it smell like? Who do we see right now? What's going on right now? Those are
Also,
good places to start.
Just for me, Ross, there were two people flanking the...
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to...
The mystery wizard agents. Yeah, that
Okay.
made the weird sigil that we crossed through unbeknownst.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to get that in my mind.
Yeah.
The trap.
Okay, so are we in that sigil right now, or
Oh, that's a
we
great
passed
question.
through
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, what's more interesting to you? Is that something you want
I
to
kinda
address in
think-
this scene?
I kind of think a fun, action-packed scene
Yeah,
inside the sigil would be cool.
that sounds great. Do you have a thought about what it does?
I do.
Yeah, me too. I'm curious if Mutiny has one, and if Mutiny has one also, I want everyone to say their thoughts, and I think it does all of those things.
I do have thoughts, actually.
All right. What are your thoughts?
Intensifies.
What are
Can
your
we all
thoughts?
say it at once? Let's all say it
No,
together.
Oh, ooh.
Let's just take turns describing what happens when we use the sigil.
It's changes for each of us.
I was picturing that, like, as the party walks into it, like a blinding light comes up, and then it's two people.
There, yeah, I was imagining these. Yeah, there's two of them, two of these people,
Or
in these
the
kind of
two
shimmering reflective cloaks.
Okay.
What if the two people do that bird thing where they merge into
What?
Well, I'm thinking
Yeah.
they
'Cause I was
or
thinking-
several.
I was thinking arrows, but birds works too. Yeah, because so like a blinding light comes up from the outer rim of the sigil, and then we kind of get like dive bombed. I like the birds idea.
Mm-hmm.
Just from all sides, but all we
Like
can do is like.
Like Alfred Hitchcock, The Birds, all of a sudden, and just like.
Oh,
I will pretend
yeah.
I know what that is.
Oh, it's like a classic horror movie that's just about all the birds in this island somewhere in New England, just like attacking everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
anyhow, what's your
I like
idea?
that.
Like that? Okay. Cool.
Well, that's kind of where my idea had stopped.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so we get kind of dive bombed, and we can't see anything, so it's just kind of a matter of, oh my god, like hide your head.
Yeah, so suddenly there's just like birds everywhere. What was your thought, Marcy?
I was thinking that maybe the next area that we go to is not a real area. We still do the same cues and everything, but maybe where this sigil takes us is another plane of existence.
I love that.
And I think that these ideas can work together.
Yeah, I think that definitely happens. And my idea was that all of the soldiers and army and everybody that we're with, because they're no longer in the Magus's protection, get turned into some kind of animals. So why not birds?
Oh.
Okay.
So many
Now,
things. Oh my
My
god.
idea has changed to a booming voice speaks to us as we enter this other plane.
I
don't
think
know
we
if they say
should. I'd love saving that for like maybe our next location. And
Okay.
I'm really
Wow.
excited about maybe going to Astalia and having that just be like that whole city is just this weird like illusion city that we're trapped in.
That's
Like,
so
if
cool.
we're gonna go to the mouth of the deep, then maybe the whole.
Oh, the whole deep way is that? Yeah, that'd be pretty
Like,
cool
we
too.
have to fight
Hello,
our way
friends.
through this entire thing. But Astalia, as
can
a
hear you.
city of illusion, is also bomb as hell.
I need you all to repeat everything that was just said in the last 30 seconds because my computer went all screwy.
Okay, sounds great. I'll summarize for you. So, so Rob was your idea was that like some kind of like booming voice like echoes out and addresses us. And then Marcy's idea was that we've entered into this like kind of alternate, like we unbeknownst to us we're like we're kind of like stuck inside this spell now, and we're going to this place that we think is real but maybe isn't real. And then Marcy was also kind of like thinking about like maybe that's what the mouth of the deep and the deep way is if we go that direction. And then I was also kind of presenting the idea that like maybe Astalia, like the whole city, like when we get there is like this kind of place of illusions. So I think we're kind of excited about there's a lot of exciting ideas now all of a sudden. But in the meantime, we're getting we're suddenly swarmed with birds, and maybe gradually this realization comes to us that as we see the kind of discarded armor and belongings of the soldiers and the numerous attendants, and birds kind of like flying out of the empty clothes, that we're actually being set upon by a bunch of really confused birds that used to be
Yeah.
people.
But do we realize that we are being transported to some alternate reality that isn't real, or
I think
I don't
not.
think
being?
I don't think we do.
I don't think we
I don't
know
think
that.
we do.
Yeah.
So does
Hmm.
everything still look the same?
I think
Like,
it'd be
why would
really
we not-
cool that we think that. So we're entering this realm, but everything looks exactly the same. So we don't know that we've entered this new realm.
Mhm.
I think it would be interesting if over the course of like the next area scene, we kind of see glitches in the fabric of reality, like and every once in a while there's a feeling of unease. I think that would be interesting to kind of play into it until we realize
I
what's
like
going
that.
on.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what's Caspian doing right now in the midst of this?
I think so. Caspian will probably shout. Is Caspian? Who's Caspian next to?
Whoever you
I think
want,
Caspian's
or maybe
next to Elamira.
Elmira?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking that. I think Caspian will like pull up his cloak to kind of to cover her, and like pull to the ground as these birds start flying everywhere, and he tries to keep her mostly covered.
Wow. She, as this is happening, looks down at Caspian as they, like, chivalrously covered Elamira, and gives like a small nod and a smile, and sort of hunches closer to the ground so it's a little bit easier, but is like watching out, and makes eye contact with River, as this is happening, and sort of like no words pass, but there is like that, like, this is bad.
Yeah. Cool. How does everybody else react to the bird?
I think Harp, she has her birds, like, she sends them off to try to defend the group, in a sense. Like, you can distinctly see the difference between the attacking birds and my birds. And perhaps, like, Harp has her head kind of, like, tilted downwards because of the light and the chaos going above, with her hood over her head, and with her staff, I hope no one is too close to her. She's kind of taking her staff and spinning it around like a bow staff type, and trying to, like, deflect the enemies, the attacking birds.
I think that this is an inopportune time for there to be danger when Justice is not close to any of the people that she's supposed to be protecting.
Mm.
And I think that Maurice is the closest one. And so Justice is going to, with whatever armor she can throw on, and with her shield and her sword, run out to Maurice, who I imagine is...
So Maurice didn't change into a bird.
Oh,
I don't know, Maurice changed
magical
to a-
privy digger.
I love it.
I love that.
I love that Maurice is, like, strangely powerful in a way we didn't understand.
He
I
is the
almost
blue
want
voice.
to,
Birds are powerful.
I don't think that we need the details on this right now, unless someone wants them. I think we can play to find out what happens. But I almost wonder if, like, it's just the people who were outside of the sigil who turned into birds, and everyone inside was protected, or something like that. Or maybe
Sure.
Maurice is actually powerful, like I
Yeah, or just Maurice has plot armor.
Yeah, I think Justice, like, basically only has one person near her that she recognizes, and this situation is going foobar very quickly, and just like, this is the most useful thing I can think to do.
Yeah, Maurice is, like, swinging the privy shovel back and forth. Get back, yo!
if Maurice is fighting back, then Justice is not gonna condescend or protect Maurice. Justice is gonna run up and then, like, as getting close, like, turn and skid, so that Justice is back to back with Maurice and they're watching each other's sixes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And like Maurice is like really sad, I think, also, like, because he knows that these were his friends that he's now having to fight.
Yeah.
Maurice.
Maurice.
Oops. Forgive me.
Not the first time Maurice has seen something like this.
Oh god.
Maurice has seen some shit, literally.
Oh, ayo.
So bad.
That's one.
Yeah.
That's one.
Strike one.
Lovely. Okay, so
what's River doing?
Oh, River? Okay, cool. What River is doing is I have no idea. I think that River is I mean, River just recognizes that we've sprung this trap, and the Magus is and just like sees how like distressed that the Magus is, because like they're defenseless, and I am just like shielding the Magus with my like stone body as I'm like kind of wondering, like, are these like birds like actually like murderous, or are they just like confused? Do you have a thought about that, Mutiny?
I don't, not murderous, but not confused either. They're attacking.
They're attacking us. Okay,
Yeah.
cool, sweet.
Intent.
Yeah,
Like
and
attacking, keeping us down, that kind of thing.
I have
Right,
some
totally.
flavor for the River thing.
Mhm.
If you're into it, the flavor I have for the River thing is that it is the painters, the acolytes who were painters, and they have turned into like peacock-like birds,
Oh.
and that is who you are defending. Who River is defending the
Oh, like
Magus.
specifically, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I think that I mean, it's interesting because like River's like sworn this kind of like vow of pacifism, but I think what she does is grab the Magus and just pull her down into the grass and cover her with her own body, while birds kind of like peck at it until they realize that they actually can't do anything to her skin. And I think we see just her robe is just like kind of been shredded by these birds, perhaps until like maybe Elamira comes to our rescue, or somebody eventually, like when you all find us, if we were to like jump forward a little bit, and I'm imagining like eventually like when the dust kind of like settles, that's how that's how River and the Magus are found.
Okay.
Did you have any thoughts, Shaz, about Harp?
Harp is bow staffing her way to the Magus. She's like, get out the way! I promise I will protect him. and Harley's like I don't know what is Harley doing.
You must be
Harp's being carried away by like a set of birds. Like they,
Oh my god!
Oh no!
Ascending like.
So I think that goes on for about, like, it feels like eternity, but really only lasted like a minute. And then the birds disappear, and we're left in this, what looks to be the same clearing. I think the sigil markings along the ground are gone, if any of us even noticed them, but the audience of the movie, I guess, would notice that the sigil markings have disappeared, and we all kind of get up slowly to our feet and dust ourselves off and look around and realize that our convoy is gone and it's just a few of us left.
I have a detail I'd like to add.
Yeah.
So I think we see, like you were kind of describing, like the audience sort of seeing that the sigils are gone, and I'm just imagining like the camera like continues going back and back and back until it exits the surface of the crystal like snow globe like that we're all now like walking in the hand of one of the two magi, who then like kind of puts it in their little pouch.
Yep.
Cool. Cool. Oh. I have ideas. Oh, I actually have ideas.
Yeah. Cool. So scene right there.
Yeah, scene.
So does somebody want to move us? Yeah. Where do we want to go next? I feel like we should.
Yeah, I
think
we
talk about this.
Like make a group decision about this now that we've decided that we are in a shadow realm of some sort.
Yeah, totally.
I like it so much that I would want it to be the Mouth of the Deep because I like playing through this for a long while. That's my personal thought.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mouth of the Deep as well. I'm kind of like liking some of the cues.
I know I haven't done Estalia, but the Mouth of the Deep is just so cool.
So are we kind of interested in the idea of the Mouth of the Deep is going to be this and then also the next 3 or 4 areas, because that is we either cross to Umbra over the ocean or through the underground. So if we go to the Mouth of the Deep, are we interested in making the entire Mouth of the Deep us navigating our way
It's like
slow globe?
It's like strange shadow world.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that idea. Also, we could do the Mouth of the Deep and then go to Estalia. Like after we do that location, like you can backtrack and go a different way if you want.
Oh.
And I'm interested in the idea of like us being thinking that we're in Estalia, and then at some point like getting to the actual Estalia, even with the exact same scenes, but now we're like outside of it. Yeah, but I don't know. I heard it sounded like a few people were pretty excited about going to the Mouth of the Deep. So I'm definitely down with that if that's what we want to do, and just kind of play to find out, what happens. Maybe we never get out of here.
Normally, I really prefer to go by the ocean. I just like the cue cards better, but
the island cards are really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a way to interpret the deep way that I am just loving.
Yeah.
Okay. People like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so who wants to move us? Maybe someone besides Marcy, since you moved us last time.
I mean, I could if no one else has an idea.
I have an idea.
All right, do it.
Okay. Which one was the Magus again?
The Magus is the broken sword.
Broken sword.
Perfect.
So we can all take our tokens off.
Okay.
And then Mouth of the Deep will light your way.
Exactly. I'm imagining as we were placed into the pocket of the mage, everything got quite dark. The light is sort of lost for a while, and I'm actually imagining this sort of in like slow motion. So as we're placed into the pocket, for us it feels like probably hours have passed as we're like descending into the pocket slowly of the mage. And as we reach the bottom and the snow globe like settles, I guess, there is in the mage's pocket as well a sort of glowing stone, and that is, we see it off in the distance. So the camera sort of like pans back into the party, and we've been walking for a while out of the tall grass, and we've come to like the edge of a huge gaping hole in the ground, and as we near it, a couple of the party sort of like step just at the edge as this light is suddenly seen, from like off in the sky, I guess, but what would be like in the pocket. And the light just illuminates it in time as we all step to the edge of the mouth of the deep, and it is just this cavernous hole that is almost like breathing. And there's just a gust of air comes rushing out of it, and there's just the slow like patter of rocks and pebbles and stuff falling off of the edge into what looks like nothingness from what you can see. And that is what lights our way. Is that
Nice.
little jewel.
Lovely.
Cool.
Cool. Who would like to go next?
I would love to do Quave Dellers.
Do you have access to a die, or you can use the roll 20 thing?
I have a die.
Does anybody not have a 6-sided die?
1d6, right?
Yeah, so the way this works, you actually don't roll until after you've described the first prompt.
Oh, perfect. Well,
and,
my roll.
and then you... Yeah, so
Oh.
tell us about the cave dwellers.
Does the viewer see what we rolled? Or do the grammar?
I don't think they will, but we'll tell them. They'll trust us. Honor system.
No, you won't.
I think the Magus gets to the mouth of the deep after moving through and following this crystalline light. And for the Magus, this is a very moment-by-moment experience. I think for the rest of us, we're just in the deep suddenly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that, for Justice anyway, and I think maybe for some of the few remaining people who weren't turned, I don't think that there was necessarily a sensation about that. There's a memory of the birds and the people being turned to birds and this wash of movement. And now we are dwellers in this deep.
Oh, we are the cave dwellers.
We are trying to move forward and to follow this light. And we are hanging on to these recent sensations. And I'm not trying to paint a picture of amnesia or anything. We remember who we are. I think that it just gets fuzzy after the events of the tall grass. I think it gets fuzzy, and I think that tensions are high because of how unsure Justice is, at least, of how exactly we got here. And Justice is definitely overcompensating about not being sure, by trying to be more of a manager and foreman about the remaining people. And that is going to be the opening of how they are like beasts, is that I think that there's a fair amount of confusion,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people are reacting defensively, and that is the start of how we are like beasts.
Awesome.
And now I would like to roll.
Cool. I think you can, in the roll 20 chat, you could roll, or if you just have a 6-sided die handy to you, you could just roll that.
1D. Is that gonna work? Okay. 4. What keeps them at bay? I think that I am going to take, if it would be all right, to have Harp and Elamira for this.
All right,
Okay.
I'm there. So what are your thoughts?
We are still moving through the mouth of the deep, and I'm imagining that based on the sort of pit opening that I got from Rob's description. That is still quite an open area, although we have moved underground at this point. But I think there's a lot of space right now. And Justice is panicking. Justice thinks that they are taking control and they are being a leader right now. And it's pretty clear to, at the very least, Elamira and Harp, that Justice is panicking. And so I think this scene opens with the last visible parts of the starry sky through the opening of the mouth of the deep left behind us. We've just moved past it. It's a wide cavern with stalagmites and stalactites, and that we are maybe, after having moved forward and having had this bird attack, setting up for the night. And Justice is just like stomping around and telling Maurice what to do, and just yelling at people and saying, make sure that these last boxes are fastened. I need you setting up a fire right now. Talking to Caspian, saying, I know that you have some ration bars stowed away in that pack from the Gray Foxes. Break them up, put them into the stew. There's some game left in my pack, and just yelling at people about what to do right now and fully panicking. And my idea for this scene that I would like is Harp and or Elamira to either calm Justice down or to tell Justice to shut the fuck up.
Oh, I had an idea already. I wanted to. So Harp witnessing Justice kind of yelling about and yelling all these orders left and right. She makes her way towards Justice and does that thing where she grabs, like, she takes her arm and like loops it around yours to get that like support, as if you're like helping her walk, and she leads you. It's like, oh dear, you're doing a great job. But if you look a little more closely on the faces of every individual, I think the last thing that something that we need to do first is make sure we're all calm and make sure everything is okay, because we need everyone to be in the same energy, in the same mindset, and yelling about may not be the first approach.
Justice is going to, completely unaware of what she's saying. Justice is going to say, yeah, Mom, I get it, but right now I have other things to take care of.
She kind of makes like a note that you called her mom and just like dismisses it, kind of like keeps it in the back burner and leads her away from like the large crowd of people and more towards like the main group, or like towards the Magus and Elamira, and sits her down, but also wanted to add like the pacing that she's walking at, the staff that she now has. It's like the tunk tunk. She's trying to create that pacing for her to slow her panic in a sense.
Justice is definitely, you can feel her whole body tense as she tries to respect your frail old body. While being very visibly and physically impatient about what you're doing. But as we take more steps and that thunking happens, you can still feel the tension in Justice's arms, but her feet stop hitting the ground like they're ready to bolt.
Elamira, dear, would you come over here and give me a hand?
Absolutely. What do you need, Harp?
Well, I think Justice did just a fine job of making sure that we're on track and really being on top of things. And I think it would be great if you could help organize that and divide up the groups. Just settle down the crowd to exactly what Justice wants everything to be handled. And
I understand.
Justice.
I think that Justice is not wrong. Having a leader in times like these is good. Somebody who keeps us all focused on the same task. But perhaps delegation is in order.
Yes, dear.
I wasn't intending this when I started the scene, but now that Elamira is in the scene and I'm just like really feeling Justice.
Yep.
I feel like what Justice needs is a scrap. I promise this wasn't what I had in mind. But as soon as Elamira started talking, I was like, right, that's the only person
That's ever fought with Justice.
who can push Justice's limits, and I feel like what Justice really needs right now is to blow off some steam and to feel like they are still a fighter or challenge. Like, I don't need them to win this.
Yep.
I just feel like that's what they really need, and I feel like maybe Elamira would know that, or Justice would know that.
Elamira takes Justice from Harp. I think I know how to help. And as they're walking away, Elamira, like holding Justice, and sort of then like lets her go and starts sort of like walking, hands behind her back.
Circle.
Yeah. Do you really think this is helping, Justice?
This is the only way I can think to help.
And while I do think that having, as I said, a leader in these situations is good, somebody of sound mind is always better.
Of sound mind? No one on this trip is of sound mind. Not even the Magus. Don't tell the Magus I said that.
There is like just a like shimmer of emotion, how the eyes like change sometimes when we pass our hands over our face. There's like a shimmer of like agreement there.
Justice smirks as soon as it happens.
Oh.
Smirked. The
Well,
smirk.
Slash.
Slash smirk. Well, I think that you often do have a level head. You were built to lead, but you sometimes lose your way, and you need perhaps guidance, like a master to a child.
Ooh. Dim spatting words.
Wait, I want more Reese to be like quietly watching this fight, like, oh.
I wouldn't be talking about mastership of anything, my dear Elamira. If I lived as long as you and I could barely keep up with a mortal, I would practice humility. And at this point, Justice is going to like start like just a little of her sword.
And dear Justice, what would that look like? Because I think, and she takes the palm of her hand and just drives the sword back into its sheath. I think it would take a leader. I think it would take somebody willing to push the bounds and to have the strength of will to lead this group. I think that's the person it would take.
Justice is gonna help. Justice is gonna headbutt the rock. Justice just fully headbutts the rock now.
Exactly. A headstrong leader.
I think you say that, and obviously the Knight of Stormguard did not move you by headbutting you, but as they reel back while you're saying that and you let go of the sword, they get enough steps back to wind up a kick, and they kick you far enough back to pull their sword out, and I think that might be a good place to leave the scene off. What keeps them at bay, what keeps the sort of dark enchantment of this place at bay is our connections.
All right. I like
Awesome. So it's 5:47 now. My recommendation would be that maybe we move into debrief. And does that sound good to everybody?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. So the way this works is we just take turns, and when it's your turn, I just invite you all to share either a moment you enjoyed, how you're feeling right now, an appreciation of another player, something that was challenging for you, or even just a moment of silence if you want to share a moment of silence. Everyone can go for, and I would just kind of invite the rest of you to just kind of like let everybody share, and just kind of have the stage while they're sharing, and then once we've all done, then we can kind of do some jibber jabber if we want to kind of do some jibber jabber.
All right.
Sound good?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Cool. Anyone can go first.
I have a lot. I'll start with my appreciation of another player, and that will be for Mutiny. The scene with Caspian, regardless of how everybody has like how they want the scene to play out in their head, and every time that we had interactions, Elamira and Caspian, it was like, no, I like that. I like where Caspian is taking that scene. And it was super fun to see where that went. And so thank you, Mutiny, for playing that scene with me. That was also my like favorite scene. I have a couple others as well, but I'll let other people go first.
I like an appreciation for everyone, because everyone is lovely, and I love your faces and your storytelling. I just like to say appreciation for Marcy. I really enjoyed playing the scenes with
I feel like our characters are usually adversarial, and
Chat has
because
lost
we are
sound.
Huh?
Said chat lost sound.
I think we're back now.
Back now.
Yeah, we're back now.
I guess
So
not.
we're just sharing debriefs.
Yeah, how long
Sorry,
ago
Team
did
Mercy.
the sound get lost?
Oh, I can just briefly resume what I had said to Marcy.
Sure. Why don't you do that? That'd be great.
I said my appreciation for Marcy simply because I really enjoyed the relationship that we have built and established in this part since in the last 2 parts it was still kind of like wishy-washy and we didn't really get that chance to really go further. And I still feel like we can go even further with this because I have like definitely more to add to it. But just an appreciation for what you brought to really build and create a more complex relationship between us.
Yeah, and my shout out was also going to be to you because I'm really feeling that connection between our characters this time, and I feel like the way we usually play is you're this like cantankerous and wild old woman, and I'm the very you're the great man of the scene, and we're still doing that this time. But this time we're making them work together.
Yeah.
True,
And
true.
I'm really enjoying that, and I like.
We're filling the void that we've had.
Yeah. I'm getting a kick out of exploring that side of your character and that side of my character. It's really doing it for me.
I have something to share. I felt like there's just like in general some really like top-notch creative collaborating teamwork type stuff going on. I really I don't know, like a lot of my favorite moments are in role-playing games are just when I'm really surprised, and there was like a lot of really surprising things that both like other people said and then also like really surprising ideas that like kind of popped into my head as in response to like other people's input. So yeah, I just like that was really lovely. There's just like a lot of cool moments for me. And also like kind of like specifically I also like really enjoyed that scene between Shaz and Rob where Rob, you were playing the Harvey the pig. It was just like super, it was just like really adorable and cute. I loved that a lot. Yeah.
That was a good scene.
That was my that was going to be one of my other appreciations, was being allowed to play a pig.
Yeah, Mutiny, do you have anything you'd like to share? Mutiny?
I think my favorite scene, both of them, the fox scene and the trap scene, like basically just where everybody kind of gave an idea and we all just kind of built on top of each other. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, I agree, like just taking what other people have said and just rolling with it, even though it wasn't necessarily what you had in mind. I really appreciate those scenes and that we can do that with each other.
Yeah. Okay,
I
cool.
remember this foxes.
Ross,
I missed that.
Ross.
What'd you say, Marcy? Yeah, what?
I was gonna say the snow globe idea really just like
Yeah.
my mind was just like, yes, I love it. I'll
Yeah.
like this.
I
want
had
those.
a bunch of pieces in that scene that were the outside pieces, and you put the one in the middle that brought them all together.
Yeah.
It was cool. That's really cool. Okay, cool. So that's it for the official facilitated portion of the stream. But we have a few more minutes here. I'd really love to just we could just kind of chat amongst ourselves, and if anybody in chat had questions, we could answer those questions.
Oh yeah.
And we also have
also,
the contest.
Yes, the Deernicorn. So anybody
totally.
who didn't hear before, type Deernicorn in chat to be eligible to win a Roll20 key for Fall of Magic. Super cool. So
At this point, you got like 60 seconds. You got
exactly.
Hurry up.
Only 60 seconds.
I love that where this story took us is that we are we are venturing into another plane of existence. This is not a thing that I had ever people, and not just the new people, but the way that ideas exchange between new people brings up stuff that you could not have imagined on your own.
Yep.
Like this,
Yeah, totally.
This is why you know, when you're playing a game that has a dungeon master, and one of the great moments, if you're a dungeon master, if you're sitting at that table, is when the DM has come up with this puzzle, and this one player at the table just comes out with an out-of-the-box way to
Yeah.
fix that puzzle, and you're like, damn.
Yeah.
DM-less games, it's like the whole game is that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Story, the characters.
You know what I also love? The fact that we got so attached to not a main character. Like we
Yeah.
Yeah.
like 3 entities basically, like 3
The
separate characters that we've grown so like emotional to,
Maurice,
and
the
that-
Oh, and Maurice, yeah.
And Maurice.
Yeah.
Couldn't let me get turned into a bird. Peppercorn.
God, it's really been an incredible experience watching it. I think as you can tell, if you guys can see chat, the audience obviously agrees. It's been amazing. But I know that Ross has to go, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's do the contest winner real quick. So I'm going to roll it. Oops, I
Roll up
typed it
the
wrong.
rim to win
Roll up to
for the Canadians in the chat.
Okay, what's wrong with this thing not working all of a sudden? Oh, haha. I have to set it to like do the entire night.
Ah,
I was scrolling through to see what's left of like the scroll on Fall of Magic. I was like, no wait.
You're not supposed to do that.
Oh, like,
not how the game works.
You're cheating.
One moment. I gotta do something real fast.
Does Shaz know about the deep way?
I think
I
I'm sure I played the deep way with Rob and
Yeah.
Mutiny before. I think Shaz
Yeah.
before that time.
I don't remember. I have bad memory.
I haven't played this
played
game with
Deep
Shaz
with the
before.
Shaz.
Okay.
Oh, well, then I guess not. No.
Well, it's time.
All
Yeah.
right. I have the winner. And I do believe I have it correct because it kept on giving me an error message.
If it's me.
Huh?
Vote me.
No,
Me, it's not me.
I remember you told me not to give it to you.
The winner is error.
The winner was error 4 times. But the winner is Foxrider.
Most
So-
fans, Fox already earned it.
You're
Yes.
deserving.
Well, I mean, it was. I was like, I don't know what's going on with it, but it's having trouble attaching to chat, so it kept on going it over and over and over again. But Foxrider, you have won. I will send me a message on Discord with your email address, and I'll get that over to Ross, and he can
And
send
then
you the
the bot
information.
killed Fox
Yep.
Rider.
Yeah, I was like, why did the bot just?
Yeah. I can't celebrate.
I set it to 10. She went over 10. I warned them. All right. So anyway, Ross, I know you have to go. Thank you so much for having been part of this and for
Yeah,
showing
totally.
us the long format version of this amazing game. It has turned into something that is really wild, and it's kind of funny because now I'm watching this whole thing and I'm like, I see how much we have left to go, and I'm like, oh crap. There's not that much left.
Well, do you know that there's maybe more than you think.
There's second games we could play.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll-
that's true. That's all. There's part
Yeah, I
2.
know. I was gonna say there's no telling where it could go. So, but we will be back with the lab experiments in gaming in 2 weeks. That Friday, we'll be continuing this game of Fall of Magic. Remember, Wednesday nights we do have, for those of you who are, in that experimental phase and you just gotten role playing and you're more used to D&D, we do have a D&D stream. It's on Wednesday nights. It's with a great group of people. Rob's actually in that game as well. And so you guys can catch us on Wednesday nights for that. And we have a show that is on the opposite Friday of this one, and that show is called Dinner Conversations. And this week's conversation is about gatekeeping, which is another huge problem with our hobby and our community that we're going to try and address. And hopefully we're not just going to bitch about it. We're going to try and see if we can come up with some ideas of how, as general people within the hobby, we can try and help stop it. So,
I might actually want to join into that.
Absolutely, you're always welcome. So if anyone wants to join in, just let me know. If you're not in our Discord, please join our Discord so you can message us and you can let us know if you want to be part of that. We love participation from the audience. That's why we do that show. And we love bringing people who different voices into the conversation. So if you want to be on the show, just let us know. All you really need to do is go join our Discord and message us there. In the meantime, everyone, thank you so much. It's been amazing. I know we're over time now, so I will say that it's been an amazing show. Thank you all for everything, and I am just going to let us go, and I may try and raid someone while we're in the credits, but we'll just go ahead and say goodnight to everyone.
Love you all.
And
Thanks so much.
we'll see
Yeah,
you
thanks for
later.
watching.
Good night.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.